Brown guy with tattoos. I think I'm covered. We're looking for a brown guy with tattoos. Perfect.
Is that the AK day?
That was the AK day. So
Chest blasted?
chest. He just won.
How about this? We'll get something for the listeners. All right.
Dude, if people understood that they can get slapped at any fucking point in time, they would legitimately shut the fuck up. Fucking take the labels off of this shit. They want to drink the bleach, drink the bleach. So day drinking, and I was like,
I caught that. I'm like, motherfucker! It's 11. It's 11 o'clock.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Work at least.
It's 11 o'clock in the morning.
Too, but I was like, yes.
Now it's time for me to talk about blood dick.
Right.
Why the fuck were you guys talking about that before the fucking episode? Hashtag blood dick.
So awesome.
Listen. Welcome to the Covert Standard.
What's going on, guys? Let's kick this off with our one sponsor, Stone Cold Works. If you are someone that wants to change your gun up, he is the man to go see. StoneColdWorks.com. He has a price list on there. He is one of the best Cerakote people and a close personal friend of the show. So go check out Stone's website and get your rifle painted and coated up. Conspiracy theories. I don't think that this is going to have to take up the whole episode, but Fred, it's just Fred and I, guys, just letting you know now. Fred was showing me a Q conspiracy theory video right before the start of the show that you didn't buy into, but you just thought was kind of a fun thing to run with.
To be clear, right? I believe nothing of what I hear and only half of what I see. It's something I live by.
Sure.
And I see a lot of these videos, and sometimes they spark my interest because it shows somebody else's creativity into trying to get amassed people on the other side to believe, right? Because I've seen videos on both sides, right? I've seen videos of like so far left and so far right and so far whatever that like there's some people that are very artistic and they can get you to like really listen to it. And I mean, I thought that would be a good premise for a movie, but anyway, yeah, just to put it out there, I'm not somebody that just jumps on every bandwagon that comes my way.
Right. I didn't. Yeah, we by no means endorse this, but it was an interesting concept. Spin the yarn, sir, if you think you can.
So the way this video depicted, it kind of reminded me of an old anonymous video that came out when they were talking about the 3-stage world plan of how they're going to fix our issues in our society, right?
Sure.
And that could be another video. If nobody knows what I'm talking about, they could look that up. It's Anonymous's 3-step plan. Anyway,
we'll get back to that.
So this particular video, it basically has like a really convincing like narrator on the video with a nice like subtle music that's kind of like a mysterious vibe to it.
It's like documentary style / like what was that, like something pennies, the one that was like 9/11 was an inside job. It reminded me a lot of that.
Yeah. And then they flash like a bunch of photos as they're talking that kind of gives you like a visual narrative to the video. So you kind of get hooked into this.
Right. We're very well produced.
Yeah. This video could have been 3 minutes long or it could have been, 20 minutes long. You would have been hooked because of the production value of the video.
Right.
And it basically goes over how it's been a very big conspiracy since the beginning, since I can remember. Like the Rothschild family.
Right.
Okay?
Right.
And basically they're talking about how a group of people, mafia-style like people, rose to the highest power that you could get in our entire world, and they run the entire world. Basically, the ideal is globalism. Basically, it's one group of people running every country, and it's kind of like playing chess, right? Or the game of Risk, where, you would rise one, take down others, mess with this person's economy and, boost it up in this side of the world. And they're basically saying that we're losing control to this mafia-style family that controls the entire world, right?
Right.
And then in the video, they talk about how they planted seeds and they tried to take us down because America is the last remaining, stronghold of freedom. They also don't demonize Russia as much because they demonize Russia. In the video, they talk about how this globalism party demonizes Russia to make them the enemy. So it shows that that's the enemy and not who they are.
Sure.
It kind of masks their identity. And then they talk about how America is the last standing, free, like actual free world, and how they're trying to break us apart by establishing racism and basically creating division in our country.
Yeah. I mean, it's the standard conspiracy theory trope to where they take cultural events and decisions that were made and disasters that happened and how people kind of capitalized on them, and then they spin a yarn tying it all together that it's this one, man,
that it's all connected.
One man behind the curtain making everything happen.
The fucking Wizard of Oz.
Right. It all comes back to that of like, the sexism and pussy hats and you're a racist, all that stuff stemmed from the globalists turning the people against each other. Like, no.
Yeah, and so in the video they talk about how like they implanted Obama.
Yeah. That like he was a Saudi bought and paid for politician.
The Saudi prince or whoever he was bought the Harvard
paid for his Harvard education. Yeah,
and then they established him in our government so he can go ahead and create deals and
handpicked the cabinet. Yeah.
Okay. and then that's where everything starts talking about. Granted, I don't disagree with a lot of things about him screwing things up. I just don't think it's exactly
so globalism. This is an actual belief that people have. You don't need a mafia style thing. Like Obama was a globalist to a degree.
Sure.
And the idea on that is make the state weaker because the state is the cause of all problems. But it doesn't, it's never in the way that would be good for the individual. Like, it's not like Obama was trying to make smaller government, but almost psychologically or philosophically be more pro-human, not pro-United States.
Sure.
If you're pro-United States, then that means you're anti-human. There's these other people that their lives matter too.
I really hate when people put strong negatives on things. If you believe in this, then that means you don't like this.
Right.
Why can't I believe in this and like that thing too? Like, I don't understand. You hate if you're the pro-choice thing, like pro-life, pro-choice, like that stems from a lot of that too, where it's like, oh, well, if you're against this, then you're against women.
Right.
No, I'm not at all.
If you're pro-life, then you're anti-woman.
Yeah. Like literally people will tell you that.
I know, but it's weird how 50% of women in this country are on one side and then 50% are on the other of that issue. So I don't know, but
it's my body and my choice.
Right.
And they call what makes me sad? This is what they call the infant child that's in their
fetus.
No, they call them a parasite.
Yeah, sometimes you get that too.
It bothers me, bro.
Yeah.
When I hear them call it a parasite, they literally devalue human life at that point.
Right, but it's like that's like something a college student says.
Yeah, but just to hear somebody call an infant a fucking parasite pisses me off. Just because it's like literally, at least acknowledge. I mean, okay, cool. You want to go ahead and do your thing and you want to have an abortion, fine. But at least acknowledge that's still a living being.
Right. Don't
sit here, it's a freaking parasite, because then now it's just like, okay, you don't really deserve anything that you have right now. You know what I'm saying? Like, you don't deserve life because you don't value a child's life like that. Like, it kind of pissed me off. But anyway, so the main point of this video, right, at the middle of it, it talks about how they control the world's wealth.
Right.
And that's how they're able to control everything. They can control the world's wealth. And that America is the only one that's still freestanding, that hasn't, they've been dabbled in, but they haven't really reached there. And their savior is having
old DT.
Yes, old Donald Trump. Yeah, so the end of the video, which is awesome, is that basically the people's answer was to not elect a politician, to elect somebody else that can rattle the cages, and he's been calling out everything since the beginning. Which, okay, he's been draining the swamp. He really has been calling out
That's
bullshit.
The problem with like conspiracy theorists, is that they'll take something that's partially true, and then they totally like devalue it, but because they're idiots,
they'll stretch that truth as much as they can.
Right, and turn it into something that's like very obvious. I watched maybe 2 minutes of that video. I don't know how long it was, but like in my head, just because I read too much, like I was fact checking, like, oh, they're wrong about that. They're wrong about that. That's not true. That's not right. And like,
but they made it sound really good.
right.
So
but
anybody
they say it with confidence, and there's good visuals and music behind it, and then they sprinkle in the truth.
Yeah.
So then you start, well, like, I know that's true, so I guess that stuff could be true. Like that, it's a whole psychological trick.
And there are people that will believe it.
Hell yes.
Now listen, I'm all about Donald Trump. I'm all about how America is right now and how our economy is getting better and how I believe our society is getting better. I don't think this video is right.
Right. Well, even I've talked about how, like, I do believe in such a thing as a deep state. And how I feel like
I do, yeah. Mm-hmm.
And I feel like the reaction to Donald Trump is based on the fact that he is not an insider. Like the big reason why everybody is so against him on such a crazy level is because there are people within the media and the established parties that are making like a concerted effort to go against him, to demonize him in the most unreasonable way possible.
Oh my God. You saw the fucking State of the Union.
I did. That was tough.
So
honest, go ahead and say your piece, because I've thought about it today too. So I want to hear what you have to say about it.
So Pence went on and talked about it, and I really wholeheartedly like believed exactly how he was saying it. What would be my thought process, right? And he basically said that President Donald Trump went out and gave an hour and a half speech about and made it all about America.
Right.
It wasn't about him. It wasn't about him being impeached. It wasn't about the problem between Democrats and Republicans or left wing or right wing. He literally used the entire hour and a half to make it about America.
Right.
He introduced heroes. He gave away a presidential award to somebody who's been in media since the beginning, and he's been fighting, people that against his beliefs.
He's a polarizing figure.
He really is. And he is an extreme level on some parts like that. But I mean, all these things happened, but he made it about America, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it was all about America. And freaking Pelosi, right? This fucking bitch. So this was what pissed me off the most. The fact that she had the audacity to, in front of everybody, on live TV, in front of everybody, just rip it up like a spoiled little brat, like a child who just lost, the game of I don't know, tag, and just blatantly ripped this whole speech up.
Right.
Was the most immature thing I have ever seen, and it makes us look bad as a whole.
IV8888 was like, I saw on Instagram saying like how he like read out the code that it's against the law to rip up a government document like that. And he's like, these people are fucking like need to be taken down a peg. They think they're above the law. She should be prosecuted for this.
Sure. She should be prosecuted, just like there's a lot of things that people get away with.
I don't think that would solve any. Yeah. For one, that's unfortunately true. This is less and less a country of laws.
The higher up you get, the more power you get, the less likely laws are going to touch you, which is what bothers me the most. You know, like for instance, this whole impeachment thing.
The corrupt nature of
how much corruption got uplifted from like Joe Biden, for instance, or the Clintons. Like how much all this stuff like actually went out and was proven. Like it's blatantly obvious in the public eye. You see what's going on.
Yeah.
But nothing happens.
Well, the Bush years. I mean, all of the illegal shit that Bush did.
Yes, with
Obama continued it, but Bush started that shit and then lied about it. Of all these fucking spy programs and torturing and.
Or how about the Bush Foundation, not being able to talk about the Bush Foundation, and then Dick Cheney taking over all of the oil reserves out there and the business out there.
Right.
Dick Cheney, by the way, is the most evil man in the fucking world. Let me just put it out there right now.
Okay, so the State of the Union, my takeaway from it was it's sad. It was a sad thing to see really because what you said was true. Everything he talked about was how good America is doing. Now, I'm not dumb. That embedded within that was political
speak.
No, like objectives, political objectives that he was trying to get across.
Sure.
And I understand that Nancy Pelosi is his political adversary. And so she's not going to applaud or clap for things that she doesn't believe in. That's totally understandable. What was disheartening and sad to see was all the things that she should be for that she purposely didn't clap for.
Because she hates Donald Trump so much, she's just not going to stand up.
I mean, it's divisive. I mean, like a little girl got access to whatever charter school she wanted to. Nancy Pelosi might be against charter schools. All right, I disagree with her, but that's okay. That's fine. We have the room to disagree. But she didn't clap for a little girl to have like better options. She was a fourth grader. She didn't clap for a fourth grader getting more options in life.
It's against her agenda.
Right?
She doesn't give a fuck.
Clapping for war heroes.
Yes.
That's
what gets me personally. You know that.
Right,
yeah.
right. You know, making it to 100. The surviving spouse and child of someone that died.
She just sat there and looked down, sucking her fucking teeth.
Like when he's talking about energy and how like we've become the biggest exporter of oil and natural gas, I understand that she might not clap to that. All right, that's okay. But almost everything else he was saying when he's talking about jobs or anything else, there is no reason why she shouldn't be clapping for that. If he was saying, this is all thanks to me, I'd understand. But
me alone.
Right. But at no point was he saying that. He was saying, this is the state of our country. We are doing well in these areas. And they purposely, Nancy Pelosi, along with a lot of other people, but they were not clapping to that kind of thing. And it was very frustrating. Excuse me. Sorry, try not to burp right into the mic.
Right into the mic. I think we kind of made it a thing where we're just like, fuck it.
Every other episode, sometimes I go like, I just balls in, burp as loud as I can into the mic, and the other times I try to spare you guys.
Could you imagine, like, we probably lost a listener just because that burping is disgusting. Like, somebody was listening to it like, oh, okay, these guys sound awesome. And I was like, burp. I was like, oh, this is disgusting. I'm turning this off right now.
Well, I mean, given our intro, I think that
you should know.
Yeah.
We tried our hardest with the intro. Actually, D over here, he made the intro as much as he could. Reflect what you're about to. Yes, yeah, reflect what you're about to hear. So if you didn't pay attention to the intro, then that's your fault. We don't hide who we are.
That conservative podcasts person that like was trying to promote us, she was a really nice lady, and like I emailed her with our info, and like again was like, just so you're aware of what you're promoting. Like we're not nice conservative boys here. Like we
speak our minds, right. And we are not only are we not PC, but
we're a little brash. Yeah.
Brash is a better word for it. Yes, we're brash.
Yeah. So I was maybe listen to an episode before you go and promote us, but
so
I stand behind everything I say, including jokes.
Me too.
As long as I'm standing behind them as jokes.
As jokes.
So like we were talking about I just before recording, I forgot who you were talking about, but I brought up Adam Carolla. Like
Dave
Chappelle, and so I threw out Adam Carolla of I love. We were both talking about like how Dave Chappelle, rather than apologizing, he'll like double down on like what he meant, how he said things,
and then do the joke again, right? Put in another light, and right. I love it. It's my favorite thing.
Adam Carolla is really good about that too. Of like when someone tries to go after him, of him making a clarification, like this whole. It's been frustrating to me over the years, like blackface, okay?
Yeah.
Blackface as in like what the fucked up things they used to do in the 30s, and then when people actually like do have the like literal blackface, and then the white around their lips and the gloves and the like there's some kind of name for it. I forgot other than blackface, but like the type of shows it used to be. When people do
I don't remember. Yeah.
But that's what blackface is, right? I mean, that's like when you like make a hokey like fucking like the raccoon eyes, like, oh, look at me, I'm a silly black man. Like that like super disrespectful. I understand the disdain for that and culture. But then to compare that to someone that was dressing up, and Adams Carolla's point was in the 80s or 90s, he dressed up, I suppose it was probably 80s given his age, he dressed up as Mr. T. And he was like, I didn't do blackface. I did Mr. T.
Yeah.
I wasn't making fun of black people. I dressed up like Mr. T because I thought he was the coolest motherfucker ever. And so there's a difference there. Megyn Kelly got fired for asking that question. And everybody equated to what she was talking about to blackface because there's no room for any kind of shades of gray. She was talking about, I forgot like what pop star, but she was talking about if you dressed up as like Janet Jackson or someone, I can't remember who, in the 80s, like that wasn't like meant to be, I'm making fun of black culture. It's like, I really idolize this person. I want to be them for a day for Halloween.
Yeah.
And that was what got her fired from MSNBC. Like, okay, well, we have to let you go. That's too egregious. You defended blackface.
Yeah. Okay, well, can I ask you a question?
But a comedian or anybody that like stands their ground to be like, that's bullshit. That's not what I'm doing. I appreciate the shit out of that.
Let me ask you this then. Do you think, or why is it that when Dave Chappelle did his impersonation of white people, when he painted his face white and his hands white and he had the comb over hair and the voice, why
it's not the
is
same.
that okay?
Because there's no... So here's the thing that I understand, but I also get really frustrated with. Because the answer is, there's no historical nature to it. Like, there was no point to where a bunch of black people had control and wealth, and they dressed up as white people to make fun of their culture.
Yeah.
And that is not true the other way around. But that's also still, like, pretending like anybody that's alive lived through that, or anybody in large numbers. I mean, there's plenty of people that were, I mean, how many people were like making memories in the 30s at this point? I don't know.
Yeah,
like,
it's probably not as many.
Right. There was like artwork of that era, but there wasn't really, that wasn't going on anymore. But anyways, I didn't do that.
Yeah.
Like, no, like, white person in the 30s did anything 100 years ago because they didn't fucking exist.
Yeah.
Like, so I'm not responsible. Like, I'm not guilty for shit that someone else did. Like, why the fuck can't we move past that? I don't understand
So
that.
because there's no historical...
Right. And like, because I'm personally not offended by it because I think it's fucking hilarious because he's doing a bit. I also just feel like you should be able to do the opposite. Like,
you think, give and take.
I still waiting to hear how someone can articulate really well, because I really try to listen to people that I disagree with very often. My girlfriend constantly gives me shit about it, about like, he's always listening to some idiot and he's arguing with him in the morning. You know, but like, of Robert Downey Jr. in Tropic Thunder. Like, that was fucking hilarious. But I want...
Fun fact, real quick.
Yeah.
I didn't know Robert Downey Jr. was arrested at one point, and like...
Oh, yeah. He had a sketchy past.
I had no idea. I looked that up. Oh, sorry, go ahead. I thought it was kind of cool.
Yeah. No, he was like a fallen star. And then he did Iron Man and Tropic Thunder in the same year. And that's like relaunched his career. But
I liked him in Sherlock Holmes.
Yeah.
Like, I really liked him.
But again, all that stuff happened after his career got relaunched.
Yeah.
But... I haven't heard an articulate argument that makes sense that that's somehow disrespectful.
Sure.
His character is like somehow genuinely hateful. Now, you can be offended by it.
So
I just don't care. Like,
but okay,
everybody can be offended about whatever they want.
If I were to paint myself, I guess I can't be part of that argument. But if you were to paint yourself all black, right? And let's just say you want to mimic a...
So, like, there's a respectful way to do it, a comedic way to do it, and then there's a disrespectful way to do it. Even if you're doing it for comedic reasons.
So blackface was basically the disrespectful way,
right? Like,
but I feel like that was the disrespectful way, so it ruined it for everything else.
Yeah, but okay.
I feel like nobody else can do it right now.
Here's my frustration too of like, this is like a half-ass way of paying attention to history, because in that same era, they disrespected white people that were from the Appalachian Mountains. Like, the whole hillbilly, they're retarded and they fuck their sister.
They did that. Yeah.
Like, that came from them. Like, that's not a representation of what really was going on. That was the same people that were making fun of black culture were doing that. they did it to everybody that was different. That was their thing. They were snobbish piece of shit East Coasters that wanted to fucking thumb their nose at anybody that was different. So yeah, they fucking suck. I mean, I still don't like East Coasters. Sorry, guys.
Sorry, not sorry.
I mean, I've met some New Yorkers I'm good friends with, but still, like as a whole, they mostly
growing
suck.
up with New Yorkers.
I can only imagine.
Growing up with people that came down from New York, and there's nothing wrong. Okay, first of all, with New York, let me go ahead and start that off right now. There's nothing wrong with New York.
There's a lot of things wrong with New York.
Okay, there's a lot of things wrong with New York. But when,
Bloomberg to start.
But I remember growing up going to school in different areas. I went to school in like 5 or 6 different states, right?
Yeah.
And I remember growing up, and it was always somebody from New York that would come down. And in their mind, they thought because they were from New York that they were
the
like
toughest
gods.
Motherfucker ever.
Yeah, they thought they were like the toughest like people. And then and it's so funny because they would come in and be like, yeah, I'm from New York, right? And then like you would like talk to them about it and be like, yeah, so like, you know, what part of New York? Oh, I don't remember. I moved when I was 3.
Yeah.
Like, what? Wait, hold on. So you're still repping New York because in your mind you think that if you rep New York, you're going to be cooler. That's what it is.
You're right.
Sorry, I had to say that little interest.
No, you're
piece.
good.
Jesus, yeah. Fuck.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm totally off on the trail. Like I don't know where I was.
Where were we? Grasping back on the blackface versus whiteface.
No, I mean just like there's a disrespectful. Like if you wanted to be an Asian dude for Halloween, like there's the like I'm gonna tape my eyelids to look crazy, and then like Mad TV style, like which Mad TV did, you know, and,
yes.
you know, like, and same thing with like back SNL back in the 70s did it. Like, okay, I guess you can say that that's a little bit more disrespectful versus like, I don't know, some chick that like does a bunch of crazy makeup to make you look Asian, and you're gonna like pretend to be a legit character. Like that's, I just think those are two different things. Of like, I'm generically Asian, or I'm gonna be Bruce Lee. You know, like I mean,
or I'm gonna be Bruce Lee.
Right. You know, like
we're gonna go that.
There's
extreme.
a difference between like making fun of something and idolizing something, and I don't know how you can idolize something and then call that racist. Like I can remember being young and thinking that Michael Jordan was just the coolest motherfucker on the planet.
Sure,
and like, dude, I wish I could be a bald black guy. Like I remember thinking that as like
I
a
wish,
really
I wish
young
I was
kid.
him because he was the coolest person I ever knew.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, but that's racist. You know, like I okay, if you say so. I don't agree with you, but we can disagree.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, in this world, like they want to go after your job and fucking try to kill you and get you to be homeless or whatever. I don't know what the answer is, but
I don't know. It's just a curiosity about that because, like, I don't know. I still think Dave Chappelle is probably hands down in my book probably my number one comedian.
Yeah,
like the influencer growing up, and I grew up starting with Eddie Murphy, and he's one of the greatest as well. Richard Pryor, one of the greatest as well. But I still think Dave Chappelle, man, he had balls. Like of today's society. Back then, it was easier to have balls, right?
Yeah.
Back then, not as many people got offended over the things you say. Well. Okay, maybe it wasn't as known.
Some comedians went to jail for fucking doing comedy.
Maybe it wasn't as known.
Depends. Like 80s, 90s, yeah, you didn't really have balls.
Well, that's kind of what I'm talking about.
But you go back further, you go to like
sure.
the 70s and 60s,
Comedy,
those motherfuckers.
Comedy in 1886, I'm sure people were putting shackles, yeah.
No, I mean, like, it's not that long ago. Like, Lenny Bruce started this shit off, and yeah, Lenny Bruce is hard to listen to now, but he went to jail multiple times for fucking inventing stand-up comedy.
Yeah.
But Richard Pryor had the same fucking issues.
Yeah, they have backlash. What I'm saying is like in today's world though, I believe that they're well. I mean, it's what I know.
Not the same issues, by the way.
It's not the same. Yeah, exactly.
No, I just mean to correct myself. Of like,
but like it's what I know, right? Because I can only tell you what's in the history books, what I've read from somebody else's perspective on what happened,
right?
In the past, and I'm not denouncing that. What I'm saying is that everything in today's society that I see that people are offended by. People like attack you like hardcore, and then they make you change your career because of it.
Oh yeah, no. It's nasty. It's nasty. Just to articulate myself, Richard Pryor didn't get arrested strictly for what he did, but he did get into some legal trouble because of some of the shenanigans, and he lived a crazy ass life.
Yeah.
I think Louis C.K. is up there on my list of favorite comedians. You just haven't seen him for a while because he's been shamed into silence. It's really unfortunate because, like, there's millions of people that would pay to see him still. Like, he could do a Netflix special tomorrow, and people would be upset by it, and millions of people would watch it because he's one of the funniest fucking comedians ever. Mm-hmm. But I'm with you on Dave Chappelle, like, especially his new shit. Like, I love his old shit too. Like, not to devalue any of his old shit. I'm a huge fan of his show. Mm-hmm. But his like last, has he done 4 Netflix specials?
Yes,
I think 4. They're all fucking great.
Yeah, the recent ones that he just did, I had to watch it a few times. Like, I loved every bit of it.
So good.
Okay, so to kind of circle back a little bit. So that video, right? Like, really, the conspiracy video, the Q video.
Right.
Leading on to that, they talk about that in the Q video, about how, we try to blame it on certain things, and the division was developed. Like, hate on him because of blackface, and hate on... They were talking about that division. Now, do you remember Anonymous's video that I was talking about?
Where not they had the exact one that you were talking about.
Okay.
But, like, of where they're saying they're going to... So 3 steps to kind of save the world.
Yeah. So Anonymous is, in case those of you who don't know, for the listeners, Anonymous is a group of individuals that go literally by the name of Anonymous. Every single person. Nobody names names. Nobody names address. Nothing. Everybody calls themselves Anonymous, and it's a group of hackers, if you will, that are really good with technology and getting into computers and stuff like that. And they basically threw a threat on the world, and it wasn't like a threat like, we're going to end the world. It was more like a threat of, you need to fix our society, or I'm going to help you, or I'm going to fix it for you.
Right.
And they had a 3-step plan, and this 3-step plan went over basically, within this amount of years, we're going to do this first step, and then the second, third, and they were going to attack. Now, they've done a lot. So
I think as you say that more and more, it like makes me recall. Like, do you know what 4chan is?
Yes. I mean, dude, I used to do prank phone calls. That's probably bad to admit right now.
That's the birthplace of Anonymous, because everybody posts anonymously on 4chan. That's what it stemmed from, was 4chan. Yeah. And like in the 2011-ish area, they were doing some like crazy shit. Like, they shut down PayPal, they shut down Discover.
Mm-hmm. They wanted somebody released from jail, right? Or
no? Okay, that's what it was. PayPal froze payments to WikiLeaks.
That's what it was.
And so they froze PayPal's website.
So that way,
multiple people went to prison and are still in prison for that. Like, they, like, when you're talking about, like, man, I feel like we don't really hear much from them.
It's because they stopped it.
FBI didn't take that fucking 3-part plan lightly. Like, they fucking cracked down. Like, we need to find these people. They're threatening the order of law.
Yeah.
Like, these people got worse sentences than individuals that, like, violently beat the shit out of someone and raped them. Like, those people that brutally raped someone got a much lighter sentence than people that were in Anonymous.
Sure.
I mean, that's fucked up, but it's true. Do you know the Silk Road story?
No.
Not like the ancient Silk Road story, but
like Marco Polo? No,
right. This guy created a website called the Silk Road, and it was just a platform for people to make business exchanges for whatever they wanted using things like Bitcoin. All right?
Okay, yeah.
And he didn't facilitate anything on his website. It was just this is a service, everybody can use it. And people already using it for prostitution, for drug dealing.
The dark web.
Whatever. Like, there was people trying to hire hitmen on it. The thing is that the cop that put the case together was corrupt as fuck, and he was the one actually making the hit list. Like, someone's trying to hire a hitman, that was him. Like, that was total false evidence on his part, and he got arrested and put in jail because of, like, him, like, thousands and like, I think $80,000+ he managed to, like, swindle out of that website. He was doing some dirty shit.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy that put that website together got just done raw, to where, like, none of the evidence of all of the shenanigans that the officer that put everything together was allowed in the courtroom. Basically, anything that would have been used as the obvious solid defense for him was cut out to where he couldn't use it to defend himself.
Really?
And he got put away for a decade or so. And, like, that's the first time something like that's happened, because you're not responsible for what other people do just because you create Like, that's the reason that YouTube's not responsible for the stuff that you upload to YouTube. You're responsible for it. They're supposed to be the platform. They get that exemption. And there's been a huge push to basically try to make the internet not the Wild West anymore. And, you know, a lot of this comes back to, like, restrictions on Craigslist and stuff. They do it under the guise of, oh, it's human trafficking. We want to stop human trafficking. But really what they're going after is legal prostitution. But they know no one cares if you sell it that way.
Let me intervene real quick. A question. So YouTube basically is the platform, right? And they in order for them not to be in trouble for it, they're not responsible for what you upload on YouTube. They're just the platform. Well, then let me ask you this then. Would that mean that they would have to be fair across the board and everybody, you know, or...
Yes, but they're not, which is the frustration on a lot of people's
That's what I was getting at. Because...
Right, like, because they're acting like a publisher, even though they're getting the protections of a platform. Like, when you have a phone with AT&T, they're not responsible for what you say on your phone line. Yes. They just provided the phone line.
But they can't say, well,
and they
we
don't
want...
fucking take your service away because of what you're saying on
exactly.
the phone line. Right? That's how that works. And YouTube is not playing that game. And I frankly would like to see, as much as I'm against the government intervention on most levels, I'd like them to basically just say, like, listen, you're one or the other. You can kill yourself. You can shut down your own website if you want to keep acting like this. That's fine. But you can't be a publisher. You can't tell people what kind of content they can have.
Yeah.
Now you can, when it comes to selling ads, that's totally different. But when you're telling people that they can't upload anymore, you can't do that because someone doesn't believe in trans rights, right? You don't get that right to be able to do that.
What? Let's make our own YouTube. No.
It's really fucking expensive and hard.
What if they were to categorize everything so that way you don't accidentally come upon something that would offend you? You have to actually
shadow ban people. They do that. They make it like basically impossible to find content.
Not impossible to find content. What I'm saying is categorize it. Like, I have to want to find it if I'm going to have it. So, like, for instance, you know, like, okay, I'm offended. I'm not saying I am, but let me give you an example.
Yeah.
Let's say I'm offended by, I don't know, transgenderism, right? And, you know, I'm scrolling through YouTube and there's a bunch of just transgenderism videos that, you know, I'm offended by, whatever.
Okay.
You know, what if they categorize it so I have to actually go
You're a hateful piece of shit, okay?
Shut up. I'm using this example. Damn it. So what if it was like, okay, what if they have to categorize it so I actually have to go searching for that individual video, and then, you know, that way it doesn't take anything away from them, but it also kind of like shields me from
it does take something away from them, though. Like, if you are taking the ability for people to find your content organically, then you are hurting them.
So it's all or nothing then.
Fair playing field, man.
Yeah.
I would love to see a fair playing field. I mean,
Pornhub.
Big fucking.
We've talked about this before.
Right.
Pornhub, man.
Well, watch them go quickly, I'm sure. But, like, I know nothing surprising about me saying this because I'm in the firearms industry and we're not treated fairly at all. And they're constantly threatening to, like, ban all firearm content.
Sure.
You learn how to you show how to field strip a gun. Well, then you're showing people how to manufacture stuff. We're going to close that down. You like to talk about reloading? That's illegal content. We can't have that on there. You know, they're
picking and choosing. Yeah, they're banning, and that's what's becoming a problem.
It's incredibly frustrating. And, like, as a business, if you're a firearms business, you can't promote. You don't get a chance to promote on these platforms. And if you do, you have to be really clever about it, and they'll take your money for a little bit and let you do it, and then they'll come down on you.
That's so weird.
Because it's like the sales department wants your money.
Sure.
And then the fucking arbiters that are sitting on their ivory towers catch wind of it and want to shut it down because guns are evil and we're pieces of shit.
Yeah, I hate...
I wish everybody could have saw that head shake.
My head, yeah, it's an audio show, so you're not going to be able to see this. My head shake it bothers me, man.
I mean, it's all part of life, so I don't let it bother me too much. I'd love to see it change, but I don't, like, it doesn't keep me up at night. You know, like, this is the world we live in. What are we going to do about it? Can't do shit.
Oh, we can.
I mean, we can ask. I've sent emails like, firearms aren't evil. Please don't treat me like I'm evil.
Yeah,
I've done that. But that's about all you can do.
Yeah. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
But I would like to petition my representatives to hold their feet to the fire and say, listen, you can't do this.
We voted you.
If you were gonna get the protections of a platform, you have to be a platform if you're going to get the protections of a platform. If you don't want to be a platform, that's perfectly fine. But we're not going to protect
hold you accountable.
Like, yeah, I mean, if someone is uploading something that is copyright infringement, you're going to be held liable.
Sure.
That simple. It's frustrating.
It is. Because by now YouTube is so big and everybody it's
absurd how many hours of content are uploaded every second. It's absurd.
Yeah. But I mean, it's not just that. Like, YouTube is now the next, like if I told anybody, I don't care what age, you could be 100 years old right now, or you could be, well, obviously you have to be in a talking age and understanding age, but let's say a 10-year-old. We'll start at 10-year-old,
okay.
Right? A 10-year-old all the way up to a 100-year-old, right? Mm-hmm. If you say Nike,
yeah,
people, they're all going to know what it is, right? It's one of those brands. If the 10-year-old to a 100-year-old, if I say Coca-Cola,
that's fucked up. I just imagine a little Vietnamese kid like, yeah, no Nike.
That's fucked up. but like if I say Coca-Cola,
yeah,
the 100-year-old's going to say, well, they used to make it with cocaine.
Right.
No, but what I'm saying is everybody knows what it is. Well, YouTube has become that now.
Sure.
If you're 100 or if you're 10, you know what YouTube is.
Wild is the worldwide nature of YouTube.
Yes.
It's a global phenomenon. It's huge in India. It's huge in Europe.
That's like a data source of information. You can go there.
More important than ever to make it free. To make it like free as in America's free. Yeah. Like, freedom of speech needs to be held to a very high standard. Like, frankly, I think that every U.S.-based company should have the standard of freedom of speech, and every country that tries to hold them liable outside of it. Yeah. The U.S. government should back them and tell them to go fuck themselves.
Sure.
Saudi Arabia wants to fine YouTube because people are saying some shit against the princes. Suck a dick. Freedom of speech.
Freedom of speech, yeah. You should always have freedom of speech. Everybody needs to understand how valuable that really is.
Right.
And it all has to be free.
Right.
Period. You can't just choose what's going to be free. Nah, you can't say that.
That's what's so mind-numbing about, like, the ignorance behind this of, like, yeah, but we can just choose the things we don't like. Like, that won't backlash on you.
So the platform that everybody's on is hate speech is not free speech, right?
Right.
But it's stupid.
Yeah.
But it's not only that it's dumb. It's the simple fact is that they get to deem what's hate speech. Mm-hmm. Everything they could just go, hate speech is not free speech. Okay, well, what's hate speech? Everything that you're saying, that's all hate speech.
Right.
So you can't be. Yeah, that's bullshit.
Hitler, the KKK, all the evil acts that happen out there, they didn't happen because free speech existed.
Oh,
right?
No.
Like, they utilized the fact that they could control speech.
If you talked bad about the Fuhrer,
right,
you were going to die. Like, that's how it worked. That's exactly how it worked.
So it's incredibly important to hold on to these staunchly. And, like, the anti-firearm stuff, like, firearm legislation has almost always been used against minorities.
Mm-hmm.
And their whole thing is like, oh, well, we need to do this. We need to make language illegal. We need to make guns illegal to protect the minorities. Like, that never works out that way.
Mm-hmm.
And wait till the winds of time change. Like, that's just how humans always suck. I don't understand what's so hard to understand about that. Like, humans always suck. Yeah. Like, give it fucking 25 years. The pendulum is always swinging.
Yes, it is.
And, like, right now on the left, it's swung too far left. There's too much extreme shit. I am a very open individual, socially speaking. So, like, I am happy that we've had a lot of social changes.
Yes.
I recognize that it's gone too far to the left, and it's going to swing back, and it's going to be real disheartening when it swings too far to the right.
Too far to the right, yeah.
Like, I could see myself in 10, 20 years voting Democrat because they're the only sane people, and the Republicans just get too fucking crazy. But that's not the world we live in right now. And, like, it's important to understand that about government so that you can kind of shrink its control so you don't have to worry about that when that pendulum swings and culture goes one way. I mean, politics is downstream from culture always, and culture is always going to morph. So, I mean, It's really upsetting to me that people are so stupid that they don't understand that.
I tend to like to pay attention to what's going on, so that way I'm informed. Because I think you should be informed,
right?
But I also don't take things so seriously that it affects my life for how much stressful this thing can be. So I just pay attention, keep my ear to the wall. If I can fight, or if I can speak my mind or do what I can do, I'm going to do it.
Yeah.
But I also understand that, I'm just one individual. This is an entire culture that could be changing, and it needs to be the will of the people as a whole, not as just me by myself. But we're doing what we can.
Yeah. I mean, that's what this is about.
That's what this is all about.
But like Obama being president, may not have loved everything he did, but it didn't keep me up at night. Well,
that's because he was hired by a Saudi prince.
They handpicked. Q. So that's a good indication if you follow someone. It's happened like 4 or 5 times of like I follow someone that's a conservative on Instagram and they post like funny memes. So I'll follow them, and then they post some crazy shit, and like I ignore it, and they do it like again and again and again, and eventually I'm like unsubscribe.
Yeah, I'll listen to some things because the production value I can see.
I'm almost positive that I unfollowed a guy on Instagram for posting that video you showed me, but I got about 5 seconds into it, and I'm like, okay, he's off the deep end. I gotta stop.
You have to listen to the whole thing. It's awesome. I try to give them the full value as much as I can. There's been a lot of videos like that where I'm like, I make it maybe 75%. I'm like,
spare change. I keep on saying to say pennies.
Spare change?
Yeah.
Oh, you're still on that?
Yeah. What that fucking documentary?
I've been trying to think about this the whole time.
Right. And like, what's his fucking name? That got depersoned. What's that poor bastard's name? The conspiracy theorist. Fuck, Joe Rogan's a big fan, or he's friends with him.
I can't remember his name now. See,
I'm sorry, people. I know at least one guy is like, fucking idiots, it's this
guy.
The rest of you are like, I don't know. The guy out of Texas, I can't fucking remember his name, but he's been like not allowed on anything anymore.
He's just been banned completely.
Right. And like that's fucked up. Like I think almost everything he said was dumb. I understand that. But I also feel like it's fucked up. Turn the freaking frogs gay, all right? Like, let that man speak. If nothing else, like, he started, like, to a point, like, he was kind of trolling everybody. Like, he believed some crazy shit, but he also, like, just said crazy shit just to get a reaction out of people. Like, you gotta let that happen. You gotta let people fucking say crazy shit. The world's way more entertaining that way.
It is more entertaining.
Fucking let people make jokes.
Stop putting muzzles.
Right.
Yeah, absolutely.
Like, there's fucking frog people, or there's, lizard people.
Oh.
Yeah.
And I know that I'm trying to think of the name now too. The guy with the beard, Anderson? No.
Yeah, Anderson.
Damn, I can't think of his name either. He's the one. Yeah, he's like frog. Right. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Interdimensional child molesters. He goes crazy. But I think that's about it for this episode, guys.
That's it. That's it, ladies and gentlemen.
Hopefully we kept you entertained. Hopefully we get Chase back on the mic, get the family together again.
We'll get him going for the next one. Just remember, people, don't believe everything that you see on the fucking internet. All right. Don't look at it and then all of a sudden believe that because somebody posted it and then they throw in one fact amongst 10 lies that they all have to be a fact. Do your fact checking.
The production value was so good.
It was really good.
The music got me.
I had to watch it, but like I could understand exactly what's going on. So yeah, don't believe everything.
Be careful about that, guys.
Remember my lesson? Remember what I said? Believe nothing of what you hear and only half of what you see. I've got clear malfunction.
Yeah, I'm here. This is me.
And I am the Nitro Panda.
I got nothing. Other than feel free to reach out to us. Bullshit.
Yeah.
Any topics you want covered, let us know.
You can go to our website, www.covertstandard.com. You can see Stone Cold Works website on that page, as well as a little bit about us. Don't forget to follow our IG accounts as well. And that's it.
Yeah, tell people about us. If you like us, share it around.
Please do, because that's the only way this thing will grow and get bigger is if the voice gets bigger with it.
All right, motherfuckers.
Appreciate it.
Have a good life.
Like, we're signing off right now.
I'm dead. I'm gone forever.